Here you go.
There's your fucking camera
There
debut.
you go.
Good job, buddy.
Are you on the recording end, or are you okay? All right, guys, welcome into episode. I'm gonna say this is probably number 7 by now of FKC Certified Sports Entertainment. I don't even keep track of my own chapters. Carol does all the back end stuff. I'm just a pretty face on TV. That's what I do best. I'm here again with High Point Rocker, bench coach, and player procurement.
Yeah, you got it.
We got that one right this time. All right, Billy Horn. Today's episode, we're going to talk about some fun things about the grind of independent baseball. As you saw on our first episode talking to Billy, with the Atlantic League, they are probably, I would say, the top tier league of independent baseball. For those of you that don't understand what independent baseball is, basically, Major League Baseball teams have a certain amount of players they can have under contract at a certain time, based off of the leagues out in the Dominican and Arizona, and then
AAA, AA.
They're affiliates from there. Independent baseball is some guys that may have fallen through the cracks from going either to smaller universities and not getting their break yet, or some guys that are just fighting to stay alive. So, on a typical day for an independent baseball player and or coach, what does your day normally look like?
Well, is this in season or out of season? Because it's
let's start with the in-season stuff, and
okay.
then we'll get into the grind of the out-of-season stuff.
So basically, as you know, in the Atlantic League, we play 140 games inside of 149 days.
7 off days, and what are probably 4 of them for the All-Star break?
Actually, okay, so 153 days. So basically, the way my personal day is I try to get to the gym every day about 10:30 or whatever. Catch up on some emails or texts that I missed from the night before. And, since I'm the player procurement guy, the manager, myself, put the team together, I literally, and this is no joke, I literally get at least 15 to 20 calls, texts, emails, meet a prospect messages, whatever it is, from players or agents. So I generally get to the ballpark around 1 o'clock. And when I get there, I meet with the manager, the coaching staff, the general manager in case there's any roster moves, if we have to work on housing, if we're bringing in a player, if we're going to set them up, in a host family or in an apartment or in a hotel or whatever. So then that leads us to probably VP. So then some days I throw VP, some days I don't. You get your pitcher workout early, where we have our pitching coach goes out there. Every once in a while I'll step out there. Then we got about an hour and a half before the game usually, and again it's just kind of hanging out, getting prepared for the game, whether sitting in a meeting, going over scouting reports or whatever. Also catching up on phone calls, emails, and then 6:35, 7:05, whatever it is, and the game starts. That's when the game starts is basically pretty much when the day ends.
Yeah.
So it's pretty jam packed, and obviously after the game I come back, check my phone. I got phone calls, whether it's the wife, brother, mom, agent, player, whatever. Time to relax and get up, do it again the next day.
So you're more of a go to bed at midnight, up again at 8 a.m. kind of.
Something like that. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 up at 8 or 9. Yeah, so
it's a consistent grind.
It's a grind. It doesn't
So I know you're talking about host families and hotels and things like that. What goes into what you guys do to help these guys get board and room and stuff like that? Because independent baseball isn't what you see these guys that are getting drafted in the first round getting $8.5 million signing bonuses. Let's be 100% honest with that one. I know working for the Pelicans when I was there, I became friendly with a couple of the guys. Like we talked about in our last episode, Chirino was there with me. Got to know him very well. A lot of these guys are relying on host families and the ability of you guys to find people that are willing to take them in, because every extra dollar they get goes to meals and prep and gym memberships and going back home to their families and stuff like that. So what really goes in, I guess, to you guys trying to find host families and things to keep the guys, I guess, in a safe and a great environment for them to keep their stuff going.
Yeah, well, not every organization and league, not everybody's the same. So, we're very fortunate and blessed that we have a great ownership group. We've got a great city that's behind our organization. So, up in High Point, we have 2 options. The guys can stay at the hotel. There's a hotel within walking distance. The best part is it's not very expensive. I think we charge them $350 a month, comes out of their check. The best part about that is when we go on the road, they don't have to move out. So that's their hotel room for the summer. So if they got a wife, kid, whatever, that's theirs for the whole summer. Or we have amazing host families. I mean, you're talking like houses on lakes. You know, we got some guys, you know, love to fish or whatever. So we'll put those guys over there with those, and those are free. You know, they got myself, the coaching staff. We're all set up in these beautiful 2-bedroom, you know, fully furnished apartments. I mean, it's outstanding where we're getting treated. But you know, that's High Point. That's the Atlantic League. Now, if you look at other leagues in other areas, you know, when I was with Long Island, you know, I had to find a place. I had found a really nice home that I lived in. You know, last year when I was managing in the Frontier League, for instance, you know, the guys don't get paid as much, but they do have free housing, which is awesome. So, you know, all of our guys last year, all my boys were all set up in a small apartment complex that was literally right across the street from the ballpark. You know, when I was in Ottawa, same thing, you had a host family option or apartment. You know, I chose to live in the apartments with one of the coaches. Outstanding. You know, the American Association, Can-Am, Frontier, Atlantic League, they all take care of their guys as best as they can, you know, but not every team is as fortunate as the others, so, you know, sometimes, you know, it may be a little bit more difficult, but like I said, the Frontier League, you're all set, you know, with that. But there are other leagues that are out there. They're called developmental leagues, or some people call them lower level leagues. You know, there's the USPBL, which is the finest of the developmental leagues, in my opinion. You know, there's only 4 teams. There's one location, but they sell out every night, and their main thing is development. But the kids are all housed. You know, they're paid. They're well fed. Then you have other leagues throughout the United States where kind of good luck. You know, but you know what? If you're playing one of these leagues somewhere else in the United States, it's better than sitting on your couch. Because me as a manager or coach, if I need a guy, and there's, let's say we can't find anybody off the waiver wire in regards to Major League Baseball, you know, we could look at one of these other developmental leagues or quote unquote lower level leagues, if you will, and hey man, this guy's, you know, he's 9-1 with a 2 something. What can you? Well, he's pretty good. He might do well in your league. We're more susceptible to sign that guy than
Billy Shoemaker on his couch.
Right, somebody who's got, well, I got too much pride to go play in one of these leagues. I'm too good. Well, you're probably not going to get picked up. You know, so you know, like I said, in regards to the living and the housing, I mean, if you're a player out there and you're looking for a place to play, whether it's now or next year, or whatever the case may be, you know, do your homework. You know, find out. You know, look at the roster, see if you know people. Maybe you're, you know, friends with certain people on social media. You can ask them questions, and then the other thing is, like, when it comes to negotiating your contracts, guys, you're not playing independent baseball to make money. So, you know, if you're looking to negotiate all this money, there are salary caps, just like Major League Baseball. They're very small salary caps. But if you want to negotiate a little bit more money, your best bet is to sign in, you know, November, December, January, where the team's available. When the money's available. But if you do negotiate a contract in the Atlantic League and you've only played in High A, you may get released before you get there, because they're going to sign guys out of spring training
that get cut.
That have played in the major leagues. So it's kind of a catch-22. Don't go to independent ball for the money. Go there for the opportunity.
So talking about that, on a daily basis, someone that you have, what would you say is like the routine for the guy who's starting that day, or maybe, you know, one of the starting hitters? You know, like what do you think their prep is before a game?
Well, everybody's different, obviously, as we know that. But for the most part, you know, we got a really, again, this is High Point. We've got like $25,000 or $30,000 worth of equipment in our gym and our clubhouse.
Do you got, before we go, do you have a call time? Like, everyone's got to be here by this, or do you kind of let them wiggle in, and then there's like this hard, like, okay, you have to be here by this time?
Fortunately, you know, like I said, most of our guys have Major League and AAA time. They know what they're doing. You know, but for the younger guys, you know, if you're, again, in a Can-Am, American Association Frontier, where they have to have rookies, guys that have never played pro ball. You know, last year I didn't have a call time, but pitchers were stretching at 3, hitters were in the cages, you know, 3 to 3:30, whatever it was. I mean, you can't show up at 2 o'clock to be ready at 3 o'clock. I mean, you just can't do that, because some guys need to get taped, some guys need to get stretched. So I would say generally everybody gets there around noon, 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock, except for the starting pitcher. Starting pitcher just shows up at 6:35 game. I don't know, 4:35, whatever their routine is. Yeah. So, you know, and again, we have an outstanding training staff, outstanding facility. So our guys are there a little bit earlier, probably than most teams. They want to be there because you have top-notch help, and and a great weight room. And we also have a YMCA membership. You had mentioned gym membership. So most of the clubs, they provide their organization with some sort of gym membership. When we have in High Point, I mean, it's got everything you need. You know, steam room, sauna, all the weights, and it's pretty good.
Excellent. So on a daily thing, your mindset. Do you sit down? Do you have meetings with Frank and Jamie? What do you really do leading up into game time? I know Jamie sets a lot of the roster and what he's going to do with the lineup that night. I know Frank has who he wants to go to first out of the pen. They probably have conversations. But being the bench coach and being the guy that kind of almost feels like the gel between everyone, especially because you brought a lot of those guys in. What is your, I guess, conversation with Jamie and Frank leading into game time?
Actually, you know what? Being that I'm in this role, I really enjoy it because I finally get to work with, well, I did it last year as a manager, but I get to really work with both sides, but with other people. You know, last year as a manager, obviously the manager, kind of what you say kind of goes.
Yeah.
So my approach is, all right, Frank, what do we got today? Who's up, who's down, who we got? And everything we have our charts. We have charts, for our bullpen and who's thrown how many days in a row, and Frank's got this awesome charting system he's got for the whole month of how many times these guys have thrown. And then obviously with the offensive side, it's not kind of easy, but it is because we only have 12 position guys, minus your catchers, so you got 11, I should say. So you're going to rotate your catchers, and then, hey, who's hot, who's banged up, who needs a day? That's kind of something we all talk about after the game for tomorrow, and then also after batting practice.
So what is your standard roster size in the Atlantic League?
25.
So you have the same amount of roster. Do you guys choose to always lean more towards having more pitchers?
Yeah.
And that's because your hope is that you can get a guy to be a utility guy that can play multiple positions. I know a lot, whenever we talked about this off camera, that you said a lot of those guys that can play multiple positions are key, especially in leagues like this because of the limited roster size and not having a random team 7 miles down the road to pick from like some of these major league organizations do when someone gets banged up. Uh-oh.
Pick back up.
Okay. So with that, you're not having a team down the street to pick from.
Yeah, so there's two ways around it. So for instance, in the Atlantic League, they have what's called the inactive list. So basically every team carries 26, maybe 27 players. Excuse me. So if you're starting pitcher tonight, I'm starting tomorrow. Carol's starting the next day. You pitch tonight, after the game, for the next 4 days, we put you on the inactive list.
Okay.
I come off the inactive list. I'm the 25th man on the roster. I'm starting tonight. So the guys are still getting paid. There's nothing getting reported to Major League Baseball.
It's almost like a scratch in hockey.
Pretty much. That's exactly what it is.
Like they got extra guys, healthy scratch. There's nothing really wrong with him. He's going to get paid. He's still on the roster. But in case someone gets banged up, we have someone we can pick up the phone and be like, hey, be ready to go tomorrow.
Well, that's the other thing too is, by being in independent ball, this is my 5th year here, just making connections all over the United States and Canada. Sometimes we're fortunate enough, when we're going somewhere on the road, just call the manager or a player or someone in the area, hey, I need a guy. Hey, this kid, he can at least be a body.
Yeah. At
least a body for you. And we do that all the time. But when I was in the Can-Am League, it's only a 22-man roster, not 25. So, especially having rookies in that league, if you're a two-way guy out of college and you don't get drafted or signed, by a major league club, you got a really good shot at going to the Can-Am League because you can play the field, you can pitch. I mean, you're essentially two guys for one spot.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, especially in a league where they're limited on roster size. Now, I want to talk to you about your baby. I want to talk about Meet a Prospect.
Sure.
For those of you that don't know that, Facebook currently, hopefully app in development sometime soon.
Hopefully soon.
We're going to talk about that off air once we get done. Meet a Prospect is Billy's Facebook group where he lets some guys who have either been released for unknown reasons or reasons that may come to light, whatever it is, basically put out videos, bullpens of themselves, hitting stats, stuff like that, to see if there's networking to try to get themselves a chance. Something that before Billy started, to be 100% honest with you, I didn't really know existed. There wasn't a lot of that stuff floating around. So Billy's really going out on a limb here to give everybody an equal shake and an opportunity. So let you take the floor on Meet a Prospect and talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go back and forth on that.
Yeah, what Meet a Prospect is, it is a social media network that allows players to communicate and broadcast their talents to other players, scouts, coaches, agents all over the world at no charge. I got the idea about 4 years ago or so, just seeing all these recruiting websites out there. They're charging hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, where, I don't know, for me, I just felt it's something that wasn't right, and just trying to give these kids an opportunity. And right now, the bulk of our, of our whole page is baseball, but we really want to branch out to football and basketball and, golf and women's lacrosse. So basically what we want to do is get it for high school, college, and pro. And what we eventually want to do is, like you said, we want to create an app where then you can now be at a university, an agent, a scout, a coach, whatever the case may be. Hey, I need a 5'7", point guard from Wisconsin, wherever. And we want to have that at your fingertips. Now, there are websites that are out there like that, but they all charge money. So basically what we're trying to do is model social media now where it's totally free. It'll always be free, and eventually we'd like to make money on advertising. That's how we would monetize it. But we've got about 4,000 people in our group between LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We probably have about 16, 17,000 people that we're linked to. So anytime you send something out, it's getting out to a lot of people, and we've proudly have helped over 160 guys sign professional contracts in the last 4 years. And from our, like I said, from our group page, we've done that without charging anybody $1. So we're real proud of that. We really enjoy it. Over the last couple of years, we have done some workouts. Now, we did a workout down here in South Florida last December. We had 64 players, and what we did was we flew in managers and coaches from all the top independent leagues. We had 11 guys sign pro contracts, 7 on the spot, and then another 4 another couple of days and weeks later. So we had 11 out of 64 guys sign pro contracts,
pretty good percentage.
Which is pretty good. And again, these are in the top independent leagues, throughout the United States and Canada. What makes us different is, we have a screening process. So, we could have had 120, 150 guys out there and made a lot of money, but that's just not what we're about. We're not about bringing out, a bunch of guys in jean shorts and beer bellies coming out just so we can steal their money. We're not going to do that. We try to do them in the off season when there's plenty of roster spots available. So we're actually planning on doing another one, probably October, November, after this season, to give guys an opportunity, for next season, just to give them a chance.
Yeah, I'm a part of that group, so I see all the notifications that come in. Guys that get released.
Sorry if it's annoying.
No, trust me. As someone who likes the sport, it's one of those things where you're seeing those guys and seeing that their drive is still there, whether they get released or unfortunate situations where it's a number crunch. Because that's what it seems to be a lot on my end, is seeing a lot of guys. We just drafted a guy. Yep. He's 21. You're 26. You've been here for a couple of years. Maybe a rough spot. We need the spot, so you let him go. So seeing those guys, understanding the numbers crunch and trying to stay alive in this glorious game. It's a lot of fun to watch. I can't sign any of them because I don't have any kind of thought process on any of that. But it's nice to see them putting up bullpens. And some kids that are in lower schools that know that their backs are going to be against the wall. And
yeah, you're absolutely right on that. And for me, me, I'm a big Rocky Balboa fan, Million to One Shot. I tell these kids, keep playing as long as you can. Don't let anybody take the uniform off you until it's time. And you'll know when it's time. And here's the thing: is baseball players. Listen, we're not going to be doctors. We're not going to be lawyers. Odds are, if you don't make it as a professional baseball player, you're going to do one of probably 3 things. You're either going to become a coach, you're either going to get into sales, or you're going to become some kind of entrepreneur. And the best way to do that is through your personal connections. I've always been a big believer in that. Whether I've gotten out of baseball and, I've gotten real jobs wearing a suit and tie, which I hated, but, I had more of an opportunity because I was in baseball, because I was in a team sport, and because I just knew people. And, guys, sometimes they're playing till they're 26, 27, 28, and they haven't been in an organization or the big leagues, but all the connections that they're making, it's just could be, hey, in a year, hey, you might open up a medical sales company in Australia, and I don't know, I might move there with my wife and let's go do it.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, and the respect, that I have and a lot of major league organizations and players have for each other. It's just tremendous because, listen, in independent baseball, you're not making money. In Frontier League, you're making $600, $700, $800 a month. The other leagues you're making, I think, $1,200 is the minimum now, and then the maximum is $3,000 in the Atlantic League. Other leagues you can go over. Maybe you're making $3,500 a month, but hey, that's not a lot of money when you're doing it 5-6 months a year.
No.
You know what I mean? So you're doing it for the love. You're doing it for the grind, and for me, when you get out of baseball, and if you do have to go to a real job, you get a lot of respect because you know what it's like to live in a hotel. You know what it's like to live out of a suitcase. You know what I mean? You know what it's like to live on peanut butter and jelly and a small salary, and what it's like to grind. So
absolutely,
people get that, and they really respect that.
So where we're at right now, I know we've talked about the leagues and everything. I guess to put this bow on this independent baseball grind.
Yep.
What would you say to someone, whether it be that the young kid out of a small school that doesn't get drafted, or one of the guys who may have gotten released in a numbers crunch? What was the words of advice that you would give them if you're sitting across the table from them?
For me, I try to look at these kids in the eye and try to talk to them kind of like maybe a father figure. Kind of not like an agent, but kind of an advisor. And listen, play as long as you can. Give it as much as you got. And good things are going to happen no matter what, And listen, some guys have different scenarios where, hey, my girlfriend's pregnant. Well, buddy, you're probably never going to make it to the big leagues. You might want to go put on a shirt and tie. And I've told guys that before, and I think guys respect that. So, but at the end of the day, our goal, my goal, as everybody knows, is to coach in the big leagues. So, and that's why I'm in this independent grind. But without independent baseball, a lot of guys wouldn't have gotten back. To where they were when I was in Long Island. We had 3 guys, Tim Melville, Henderson Alvarez, and Quentin Berry. They were on our club in June, July, and August, and in July, August, September, they were in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So, and I know that they've played in the big leagues before, but it's possible. But without independent baseball, where would those guys have been? Maybe they've gotten a shot in Mexico, but if independent baseball wasn't there, there'd be so many guys, going for one little spot. So independent baseball is great. I love it. It's been a great ride. I'm really enjoying it. Hopefully, we can close out this season with another championship. Like we did in Ottawa in 2016. But just keep grinding. Keep grinding. That's the message. All
right. So we're gonna wrap up the independent baseball talk. Where can they follow you on social media?
Guys, I'm all over the place. You can follow me at B_Horn22 and also at Meet a Prospect on Instagram. We do have the Facebook group page, Meet a Prospect. Twitter, we're at Meet a Prospect, also at B_Horn22, and LinkedIn. I also have a personal LinkedIn page, which we have dedicated portion of that to Meet a Prospect. Right now, we're currently connected to about 8,000 people, and we're also in a couple of groups on there that are, involved with social media and professional baseball, minor league baseball, and like I said, we're also trying to expand to all other sports, high school, college, and pro.
All right. So that's Billy. You can follow me on Instagram at FatKidCertified SE. Make sure you guys like, subscribe down below. Leave a comment. Billy will be back at the end of the season. So if you guys want anything that you want him to talk about, feel free to put it in the comments down below or message me privately. But we're going to wrap it up here. His brother is pacing because he's starving. We're going to go get fat. So on the other side, guys, please like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want me to hear talk about. I will have Fatty, who is on the other side of the camera right now. We're going to talk about the post show for WWE Extreme Rules. That's going to be tomorrow or Sunday night. We'll do a post show from that where we'll probably be eating food because guess what, guys? We're fat. But we're going to wrap it up here for Billy.
He's got to get his hair fixed. He's got to get his hair and makeup first.
Make sure you get the beard all fluffy. So for Billy, I'm Mike. Thanks you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.